In this session, I want to show you a few business ideas that you can build on top of AI, meaning that really a few simple ideas for simple tools that you can build and you can start building simply leveraging the OpenAI interface. It's quite straightforward. I think many people go to the length of imagining like they need to build complex stuff on the for AI in order to actually build a valuable company. In reality, we want to use a bottom-up approach where we actually start building very simple tools and gather feedback on top of those tools, and that's how we want to go forward. So I would like to invite you to actually go and create your own API account on OpenAI. So go to beta.openai.com /examples, and there you're going to find a bunch of already use cases for you. So you don't have to go far. You can just borrow any of those use cases and build a custom tool either on your website as a web app or as a Chrome extension or both, and or a chatbot, and you can experiment with really those applications, start building tools. That's it. That's as simple as that. So that's what you need to do. Now, of course, you're going to need a developer for part of the work, but in reality, most of the work is not really technical. It's more understanding what is that you want to actually build. I think that is the key thing here. And again, I would like to just show you that OpenAI has already figured for us a few interesting commercial use cases, and we don't have to go far. So let's start with some of those. And really, to jump on any of those use cases, which I'm going to show you the most interesting ones, all you have to do is just to click on each of those use cases, show what it does, and based on that, you're going to give instructions to the developer of what APIs to integrate in your tool to actually launch a successful AI tool. That's pretty much it. So we're gonna see a few ones moving on three main lines. Either building like web app, so something hosted on your website, which can be like a free or paid tool. It's gonna be up to you the kind of model that you want to adopt for the tool, or like a Chrome extension, which can get amplified quite easily, or you can build like a mobile app either on iOS or Android, or yet you can build a chatbot, which I think it's one of the most interesting applications. And again, a chatbot, it can be either as a website based, desktop based, or mobile based. It's going to be up to you. But the most interesting aspect right now is to understand that right now we have a bunch of AI tools that we can use that will become the basis for a multi-billion-dollar industry, productivity industry, business productivity industry that is going to give us the chance to experiment with a lot of this stuff. So that's what you want to do. That's what you want to start doing right now. Now let's look at the most interesting ones. The first one that I want to invite you to look at is the Q&A playground. You just jump on it, and pretty much it's just what it is. You can tell it. Actually, let me start again. Let me do a few steps. First of all, you're going to be able to jump on any of those use cases once you go on the beta.openai /examples page, and you're going to find a lot of cases. I have them open in a few tabs ahead of me, but really when I mention one of those cases, like for instance, if I'm going to say essay outline, you're going to find the corresponding application on top of OpenAI, and so you can open it just like I'm doing in the video if you're watching the video, or you can really follow the instructions in the podcast session. But really, that's what it is. Now let's look at the first tool that you can build. You can build pretty much an essay outliner. Imagine that you have been assigned an essay for school or whatever. You want to actually build an outline for it, because this is going to speed up for you the way to actually build the essay. Of course, let's remember that I just did it here in a second, so I just used the main example that is used on the OpenAI interface, and that how it speeds up the outline. Of course, let's remember that if you want, you can go straight to ChatGPT and have it produce really a whole essay, which is something that I do not suggest, because if you're doing these for as an exercise, you're doing it also for yourself, so you still want to learn the creative process of building something and creating something, even when the outline has been suggested by the AI. So this is really a way for you to speed up the writing process rather than creating things from scratch. Then another one that you can leverage is really another interesting playground, is going to be the one where you can extract. So is the contact extraction playground that pretty much you can use to extract any information by an email. So imagine the case where you had contact by email. You're gonna understand who this contact is from the text, and what's the address if it is mentioned. I mean, this is just an interesting API that you can start using to build more something like let's say a contact extraction tool. So a tool for lead generation for salespeople, which is also interesting. Another interesting playground is really the playground where you can fix the bugs. Again, you're going to find them all on the examples pages. You're going to find the title for each. For instance, there is this one, which is the Python bug fixer, which is where I'm looking at right now, where you have a function and you can ask where is the bug, and the OpenAI interface is going to find it for you. Again, this is an interesting API. Imagine that you were building a code assistant, which I think right now is maybe quite useful. A code assistant for programmers. You're helping them solve bugs much quicker, and therefore you're speeding up the process of coding for them. Or yet another one, interesting one, is the product description, or the generating the name of a product for you. So for instance, you give it a product description and it comes back to you with the name of a product. For instance, this case, we have a description of various types of products, and the machine gets back to us with the potential name of a product. And again, this is something that you find as a product name generator under OpenAI. So again, just play with it, just have fun, and find the sort of things that you're most interested about. Another interesting application, which again you can cross various APIs that you find on OpenAI to build a complete tool. For instance, in this case, if we look at the code helping tool for programmers, there is another application which is about translating functions from Python to other languages. So you can take a function from a program, translate it in another program, a language program. It's quite useful, I guess, for programmer. So if someone is already using it within OpenAI, you can make just a much simpler interface and offer it as a free web tool, or like a Chrome extension, or like an application, up to you. And another one is the generator of questions for interview questions. This is another one which is quite interesting, because imagine that you are someone in the HR industry which is thinking about all kind of questions for potential candidates. You handle a large volume of candidates, and then you start generating questions for them, so that in this case it's going to help you do that. Or again, you can build a tool for HR people, free web app, which is going to help them find questions on your website. So they're going to go on your website and find the questions that they can ask to candidates. So quite interesting. It's a simple web app with which will work quite in a quite straightforward way. Another one, it's really generating from a note, generate a summary. So another like Chrome extension or web app, which might be extremely useful. Imagine that you take a lot of notes, especially for meetings. Up of those notes, the machine can generate a summary, which you can use as a as a recap in an email follow up with potential customers, internal teams, and so on and so forth. And this one as well can become either extension or app. It's really up to you. And again, you find it within the OpenAI interface as either a summarization tool, or there is like really the note taking. So the study notes or the note taking app. So you can leverage any of those. And then another one, it's the analogy maker. Again, simple tool, which may be useful for writers. Again, a web app where you have hosted on your website, where you have analogies generated for free for users with a very simple interface. You drive traffic to your website, and that's a cool way to generate traffic. And then another one is Steel, another API for programmers, where you have an ML, so machine learning and AI language model tutor, where those people can find, programmers can find any answers about any question they have. So again, this is another of the features that can fit within a potential programming interface. And then another one, it's quite interesting. Imagine that you start building like a data engine on the web that gets the information that you have in text and starts arranging it in tables. Then you can copy and paste in, or like automate into other tools like Excel or Google Sheets or whatever, so that you can generate automatic workflow. You can either go into the specific APIs that you find into OpenAI, or you can go into ChatGPT to first understand the kind of things that OpenAI can do for you, and based on that, look at specific APIs. So the interesting thing is. So the interesting thing is here is you go to ChatGPT to understand what sort of capabilities, generic capabilities you have within OpenAI, the OpenAI interface, and then you go back to OpenAI and you look for an API. That's very intuitive way to understand the things that you can do with OpenAI. For instance, you know that through ChatGPT you can generate HTTP request, and then you can look for specific APIs within OpenAI that you can use to integrate into potential tools that you're building. And again, this is quite interesting because it enables you through a general purpose engine like ChatGPT, which has a conversational interface, to create a shortcut to understand what sort of capabilities you can use within OpenAI. Other things that are quite interesting again are for programming as well, a lot of stuff. And I think it's quite interesting for programming, where you can build on top of the various APIs that you have a whole tool. So you can build not just a simple tool. If you know how to develop on your end, you can actually build a quite complex tool by using various APIs that you have through the playground. And the interesting part is that there is a specific interface for that, which is the Codex sandbox, which is an interface just for programming APIs, and that one, it's pretty powerful for you. So let's look at other interesting applications that we can leverage on top of OpenAI. Another one is a summarizer as well. You can build either a website app or a Chrome extension, which, for instance, you can let people summarize what they're reading. This may be like a quite interesting tool for them, because it's going to help them make sense of whatever they're reading. Imagine that you're someone who ingests a lot of news on the web. You have an interface that enables you to summarize everything that you read on the fly, and then you can copy and paste and do notes very quickly. If you write or if you do like creative stuff, is going to be very helpful. So this is another idea. Or like again, another one is a Q&A engine, also here, where you can ask any question, general purpose ones, and it's going to be able to answer on a specific kind of knowledge. Or you can use this the OpenAI interface to actually build an SEO tool, where you start extracting potential keywords from a text using the keywords API, or other things related to coding, where you define through Codex what are the different paths that you want to take to actually solve a specific problem when you're coding. So again, to actually understand what kind of tool you can build right now in four main formats, we said, either web app or like Chrome extension or mobile applications, or yet a chatbot. You just need to go on OpenAI interface, hook into the API, understand what API makes more sense to you. You can look into ChatGPT to first ask a questions and understand if it has the capability to do that. And if it has, most probably you're going to find those API specific APIs in the playground of ChatGPT. And with this in mind, you can start start interacting with the developer, to actually ask them to integrate those APIs within a format that you decide what that makes sense for you. So a distribution format that can be like web app, Chrome extension, mobile application, or chatbot. It's going to be up to you. But that's what you want to do. You start building like very simple tools for AI that will give you the chance to test the market bottom up, and you're going to start building stuff very, very interesting. And you can always build more complex stuff and features on top of those things. And you can integrate more API features as you start getting feedback from the users. That's pretty much it for today.